Hey guys, so I know we are starting our volume unit, and I know everybody's super excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I love volume. So let's start with volume of rectangular and triangular prisms. Okay, first of all, let's get some vocab. A rectangular prism is a 3D figure with 2 rectangular parallel bases and 4 rectangular faces. And triangular prism is a 3D figure with 2 triangular parallel bases and 3 rectangular faces. Now, if you notice, they each have 2 parallel bases, okay? These don't look like a pyramid. We're going to see what they look like in the video, but they have 2 parallel bases, okay? Rectangular prisms and triangular prisms have the same formula. Why? You always find the area of the base and then you multiply it by the height. Basically, this means you have a lot of bases stacked. And I know this part does not make any sense to you at all, but we're going to go over it in class tomorrow, and we all have manipulatives to show you what we mean by that. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we see on our formula chart. If you look on your formula chart, hopefully you didn't see it, and I'm looking at mine. I don't know if you can see it, you can't, but it should look something like this. You see prism, and then you see V is equal to big B times H. Now, that's different than this part right here. This is a little b, this is a big B. So the big B means area of the base. It does not mean the base. It means the area of your base of your figure, okay? So important. Area of the base. Alright, say it to yourself. Big B means... I better like wish you would have said that, because that's embarrassing. So, anyway, what are the bases for a rectangular prism? Rectangular prism, probably your bases are going to look like a rectangle. Alright, so the big B, there says a 1/2 here, cross it out. That was my mistake. I'm so sorry. So the big B means base times height, because remember, big B means area of your base. The area of a rectangle is base times height. Or, remember, Ms. Hitchcock, we made adjustments. Or, where am I? Oh, I guess we didn't. Or it can be length times width, right? For your next one, what are your bases for a triangular prism? Well, they're going to be triangles, alright? So big B means, and you don't see it here, but big B means area of the base. So area of a triangle is, we come here, area, triangle. We have 1/2 base times height, so add a 1/2, because again, I forgot it, or I got it mixed up. Or it could be base times height divided by 2. This is what you saw last year, right? Alright, so in case you haven't guessed, you really do need your formula chart out for this entire unit, like we did for our last composite figure unit. It's extremely important. So, after you found, this is kind of like step 1. These are kind of like your step 1, find your area of your bases. After you found the area of your bases, then you have to multiply that by the heights. This is kind of like your second step. You multiply by the height of the 3D figure. Alright? Guys, your height will always connect your 2 bases. Okay, we're not talking the height of the base anymore. We're talking about how tall is this actual 3D figure. How tall is it? Again, we're going to be looking at all of this stuff in class tomorrow. Okay, it says height to a shape is what creates volume. So, if you just have a figure on the piece of paper, that's just a 2D figure, right? It's not until you give it some height that it's actually going to become a 3D figure. So this is what makes it the 3D figure, this height. Right? You don't have to draw that. Just know that your height is what creates your volume. And again, I said stacked bases. We're going to talk about that. Alright, so you want some steps, because everybody loves steps. So steps, of course, we are going to use FSA. Don't even ask me in class if we're going to use FSA, Ms. Hitchcock's class. Yes, you're going to use FSA on every single problem. You're going to find your formula on your formula chart. What I mean, you see your problem has volume. You're going to go, formula chart, volume. Volume of a what? Volume of a prism. Volume of a prism is big B times H. So then you're going to come back, you're going to say, my formula is volume is equal to big B times H. Then I want you to highlight your base and determine what shape it is. And then I want you to redraw your base to the side. Alright? Next, I want you to draw an arrow up from the big B and say what your shape of your base is and what the formula is for the area of the base. You're going to substitute the area of the base formula into your volume formula. Simplify your expression by using order of operations. Y'all have no idea what I'm talking about, but once we do 3 examples, you're going to have a very good idea of what's going on. Alright, so here's our first example. So I know I'm going to use FSA, so I'm going to write F, S, A. Draw a line down the middle because that's how I like to do it. I know that my formula is, on my formula chart, V is equal to big B times H, and I know that because I'm finding a rectangular prism. This rectangular prism, to be specific. Next step says highlight your base. Now, in a rectangular prism, it does not matter what base you highlight because all the bases are rectangles. In a triangular one, it does. So I'm just going to highlight this front base. Okay, your base does not always have to be what it sits on. And if you like 3D, you'll see that your other base is back here. Alright, so then step 3 says, step 2 says redraw my base. So I'm going to redraw it. Just redrawing this pink part. I see 4 on the bottom. What is the height right here? This is still my base. 4 by, well, if you look back here, it says 5, so it's 4 by 5. Alright, 4 by 5. Now I've done draw an arrow up from the B. So what I mean by that is you're going to go like this. Drew an arrow up. Says say what shape your base is. Well, this is a rectangle. Then I'm going to go to my formula chart. I'm going to see rectangle is length times width. So I'm going to say length times width because I'm listing the formula. Then it says substitute the area of the base formula into your volume formula. So you have volume is equal to, we know that big B really is length times width. And we're going to multiply that by the height. Now don't you remember length times width times height? That's familiar, right? So you have length of 4. Let's put our numbers in. Times our width. We said 5 because, don't forget, this was the area of our base and this was our base. And we're going to multiply that by our height. Now remember, your height does what to your 2 bases? Good, your height connects your 2 bases. So my first base is here, my second base is here. What connects these two? Hopefully you said 6. The height connects your 2 bases, so 6 connects them. 4 times 5 is, 5 says simplify using order operations. So my parentheses say 4 times 5 is 20. Times 6 is, volume is equal to 120 centimeters cubed. Okay? Cubed because we're talking about a 3D figure now. So you're not doing squared anymore. It's all going to be cubed. Alright, flip over on the back. Says, what is the volume of this triangular prism? Alrighty, so I'm looking. And I know on my front side, I know I'm using a triangular prism. I know I'm going to have to use FSA. I know it says find your formula on your formula chart. Well, if you look on your green formula chart, or whatever color Miss Smith and Miss Heads is, it should say volume is equal to big B times H. The next step says highlight your bases. Now, in a triangular prism, your base is a what shape? Good, it's a triangle. And you always have 2 bases in prisms. Alright, so then it says redraw your shape. Redraw it exactly as I see. I see 10 here, 10 centimeters, and I see a dotted line, the 90-degree angle, and then it says this is 15 centimeters. Next step says draw an arrow up from the big B and say what shape my base is. Well, my base is it's a triangle. I'm going to abbreviate. On your formula chart, what's the area of a triangle formula? Good. Hopefully you said base times height divided by 2. Alright, so now we need to plug that in. So I have volume is equal to base times height divided by 2. and I'm going to multiply it by the height. Now the confusing part is this height is talking about our 3D figure. It is not talking about the height of the triangle. This height's talking about the height of the triangle. This height's talking about the height of your 3D figure. So let's put in our numbers. Our base of our triangle is what? Good, your base is 10. Your height of your triangle is what? Good, 15. We need to divide that by 2. Don't forget that divided by 2 part. We need to multiply by the height of our 3D figure. Now don't forget the height of your 3D figure connects your two, hopefully you said bases. So what connects my two bases is 20 centimeters. Okay, keep simplifying. 10 times 15 is 150 divided by 2. I mean, still need to times that by 20. My A is going to go away. 150 divided by 2 is 75. 75 times 20. Alright, you work it out. Hopefully you got your answer to be 1,500 centimeters cubed. Alright, don't forget your height is always at a right angle. That's why I picked this. If they would have given me this is 18, I wouldn't have used the 18 because my height's always at a right angle. Miss Hitchcock's class, that should be drilled into your head. Alright, last but not least, what's the volume of this triangular prism? Alright, so again we're using FSA because we're talking about volume. We know its volume is equal to big B times H. You know you always have to highlight your bases. Your bases in a triangular prism are going to be triangles. Okay, I'm going to redraw my base. 15, 5, and 10. This is my right angle right here. Draw an arrow up for my B. My base shape is a triangle. My formula for area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to plug that in. Base times height divided by 2 times it by the height. Don't forget this height represents your height of your 3D figure. Good. Let's talk about the area of this base first. This base is going to be 10. The height is going to be 5. Don't forget, your height is always found at a right angle. Always found at a right angle. So, base times height, 10 times 5, divide that by 2. Now, what do you think this H is going to represent? See if you can write it down. What'd you put? Alright, if you put 2, you are correct, because don't forget, this height always connects your two bases. My bases are going to be, my other base is going to be back here, right? So this connects my two bases. Alright, 10 times 5 is 50, divide it by 2, times it by 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25, times it by 2. 25 times 2 is 50 centimeters cubed. Now, I am fully aware I went through that really fast. Please reference in class your notes on your steps. Your steps are going to help you. We are going to do so much practice with this. You're going to be great. But look over this again. Rewatch it. I really do strongly suggest watching it and then writing everything down. But if you need a refresher, go back and write everything. Go back and rewatch it again. Sorry, y'all. I'm such a mess today. Y'all have a great day, though. Bye.